36 teams, 8 massive games, and 1 Scottish side going for glory. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. It begins tonight, the Champions League. At least it does for our country, Scotland. Going it alone this time are Celtic. No more 2 teams competing in Europe's top flight. Celtic will be going it alone, and they'll be taking on 8 of the best, the very best teams from Europe. Well, maybe not the best, because their first match is against Slovan Bratislava. But we do know that Celtic have struggled against teams from Bratislava before. So this doesn't mean it's going to be an easy game. You factor in that Brendan Rodgers has done a lot at Celtic. But the one thing he's not done is had success in Europe. No matter what European competition, I can't recall one year where I would say Brendan Rodgers has had a good European campaign. It's not happened. He's fallen flat in Europe. A lot of people say he came back to Celtic for this reason, to right that wrong, to have a successful campaign, and looking at the new format, looking at the team Celtic are against, I think this will be his best opportunity to do so and get in to the last 16 of the Champions League.
I totally agree. Brendan Rodgers, he got backed. He says this is the strongest he's ever felt going into a Champions League campaign / European campaign. There's no excuses for Brendan. 11 million here, 1 million on Luke McCarron. They signed pretty much everybody they wanted to sign.
The pressure is on.
No, the pressure is on. And let's be honest, we all talk about, Celtic, they're dwarfed compared to the finances of English Premier League, Bayern Munich, Madrid, Barca. It's completely flipped on its head here.
Yeah, Slovan Bratislava, they're the team that is dwarfed here. They're the team that is coming up against Celtic. And, I mean, they're looking at Celtic in this game, in my opinion, like a mid-table Scottish Premiership team would be looking at Celtic. You know, this is like Celtic taking on a Hibernian, or Celtic taking on a Motherwell or a Kilmarnock. I think that's the kind of gulf that we're talking about here when you look at financial differences between the team. I mean, Celtic's I'd say Celtic's lowest valued player in their starting 11 is probably valued at more than Slovan Bratislava's highest valued player. So, I mean, Celtic should be winning this game, make no mistake about it. This isn't a Celtic team now where they're going into a group and, you know, they're the underdogs and, you know, they've got a group of death. Now with the new format and getting 2 teams for each pot, it's almost like, you know, you're at least guaranteed a couple of games where you're taking on, you know, teams that aren't at the top of Europe. And that's exactly what we've seen with Celtic's draw. Yeah, there's some tough fixtures in there, but there's certainly some winnable fixtures in there. And it's been a long time since we've seen Celtic be a dominant force in Europe. Especially, it's been a long time since we've seen them turn Celtic Park into a dominant force where it used to be. It used to be, I mean, you used to not really get anything out of Celtic Park if you were the away team in Europe. And I think we need to see that again, starting with this match here.
Yeah, for me, it should be an easy 3 points. I mean, they can hype it up and say, it's the Champions League. Let's be honest, man. This game right here could be Conference League. It could be the Thursday night plate division, whatever you want to call it. Celtic need to win this game. They should win this game. For me, if they don't win this, honestly, I would say they're as good as out. And I know you said previously, well, there's 7 games to go and they have got favourable fixtures. Of course they do. I'm not going to take that away from them. But how bad would this make Scottish football look? Because let's be honest, see this team, I'd say every other team you look in this competition and go, aye, they're a Champions League worthy team. I look at Slovan Bratislava and they're the sort of team that you would expect to sneak in the back door of the Conference League, let alone the Champions League. Celtic need to win. There's no excuses. And I think they will win. But before we get into any of that...
Slovan Bratislava is the kind of team where you'd give like St Mirren and Kilmarnock a good chance of knocking them out.
Yes.
In the qualifiers, so...
Yeah, and this isn't us putting the pressure up on Celtic here and, you know, if they get beat, Big Brendan's got to go. I just think Celtic should be expected to beat Slovan Bratislava. I mean, as you've just said, I'd expect St Mirren and Killie to give it a right go. You know, if it was away, it would be trickier, obviously, right? But, I mean, they're talking about on Super Scoreboard, Slovan Bratislava, or, you know, they've got Bayern Munich and Man City. They're looking at this Celtic game like a real opportunity. And yeah, compared to Man City and Bayern, aye, definitely more chance of beating Celtic at Parkhead than those two. But they're just happy to be there, man. I'm not going to say they're just going to roll out the red carpet and let Celtic walk over the top of them, but if Celtic play like they have so far this season, this will be an easy win.
Like, some teams have to make up the numbers, and I just think Slovan Bratislava are one of those teams. Now, we put up the poll, who will win? There's 595 votes. 67% are going with Celtic, 9% going with a draw, 25% going with Bratislava. 1967 was a good year for Celtic. Will that 67% be right tonight?
Yes, I think it will be right tonight. I think the people voting for Slovan Bratislava must be all Rangers fans, to be perfectly honest. But for me, I actually don't even see a world where they win. I don't. I think it's Celtic. Come on. We're talking about the coefficient, right? And there's a lot of coefficient merchants out there. This is just a game Scotland simply need to win. The gulf is absolutely insane, and Celtic, they've not got one injury. In previous campaigns, I feel like they've injuries in certain positions. They're going in with their strongest 11. Kasper Schmeichel's been playing with the slippers. I think this is another game he can keep the slippers on. Ernie Engels, £11 million man. Kyogo. Come on, right? It's time for these players to actually step up to task.
No, it is.
They dominate Scotland, and this team would be mid-table in Scotland.
And you mentioned coefficient. I know people don't really care about it as much, but I don't think people realise how dangerously low we are slipping down the coefficient. And we're still, over the next 2 seasons, we're still actually defending a decent amount of money. Now, the last couple of seasons we've been garbage, so once we get to there, we're not really losing much. But I mean, we need to have a decent couple of next seasons in Europe, or else we are going to fall off the face of the earth. And 2 teams in the Champions League, 3rd team guaranteed some form of, you can forget that. All right, that's gone for next season. But if we start performing well, we can get it back.
Yeah.
Over the next few years. See if we have another couple of bad years in Europe. I mean, we'll be back. I remember I think when Rangers went down and Celtic had Ronnie Dyler, we were like a record low 27th. And that's where we're heading again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're like 17th right now, so...
So, yeah, we need to... And you know what? We're more likely to drop than we are to improve because, like I said, we're still defending 2 decent seasons. We need to do something.
There's 22 matches, right?
Starting with Celtic here.
There's 22 matches guaranteed. I see no reason why Scotland shouldn't be aiming to win at least 10. At least 10. Because I look at Celtics, they've got a favourable group. Rangers, I mean, it's a tough enough Europa League group, but there's a lot of winnable ties in there. And Hearts, I mean, I think Hearts did get dealt a rough hand, but I still think there's opportunities for Hearts to win.
Hearts have a good squad, right? Let's not look at the start of the season and just pretend that they're shite.
Yeah.
Right, so Hearts still have a pretty good squad, and I do expect them to get wins in Europe. Anyway, let's look at the team news tonight. So Celtic, no injury worries, no suspensions. They're coming into this game with a full bill of health, and pretty much they can pick any starting 11 that they want. And that should be interesting because, I mean, I don't think at this point in time we know Brendan Rodgers is strongest starting 11. I don't know if Brendan Rodgers knows it. Now, obviously, Scales have been doing a good job. But long term, does Brendan Rodgers see Trusty ahead of Scales? We don't know. Bernardo had a good game against Rangers. Straight away though, we seen Engels come in and replace Bernardo. I'm not saying that's the wrong call, but a lot of people did feel like Bernardo was harshly, dropped for that game against Hearts. And is the Celtic free going forward? Is it automatically McGregor, Hatate, Engels? Or will we see that rotated? I mean, we don't know, but I think tonight, whatever team Brendan Rodgers puts out, that will be an indication of his strongest team, because I imagine that he will be starting this game with the very best squad that he possibly can. You can argue in the league, he might be giving players some chances, but I believe that he will go into this game playing the best team that he possibly can. So I think whatever team we see tonight, I think that might give us a true indication of what Brendan believes is his strongest team. So we'll have to wait and see.
Tonight's not the chance to rotate. Saturday or Sunday's the chance to rotate when you're taking on Falkirk in the cup, right? But as for Engels, I mean, Ade doesn't start over Kyogo, so I think Engels needs it to come in. Because could you imagine? I know against Rangers they had all the £1 million signings on the bench, but I think in Scottish football, when you've signed 2 guys combined for over, bloody 20 million. I think you need to get one of them in your starting 11, to be honest, rather quickly. And
yeah, how bad would it look? You've got you've spent over 20 million on 2 players, and they're both sitting on the bench.
Yeah, But I think...
But here, that's Celtic's fault for overspending on Ida.
Yeah, no, it is. I think the difference is, though, I feel like up front,
Or Ida.
Adair can suit games more than Kyogo. Like, I think Adair might potentially suit certain teams in the Champions League that are more physical up, like at the back. Don't really know too much about Slovan Bratislava, to be honest, but for me, Falker, I think you'll see the likes of Austin Trusty and Adair and those sort of players like Luke McCowan will start against Falker. As for Slovan Bratislava, I think it'll be unchanged for the weekend. And as for them, Slovakian right back Lukas Pavcek is missing, so he sounds like a big player for them. Shoulder injury.
Yeah, that seems to be the only injury here for Bratislava. Veteran forward Vladimir Fejs, the manager's son, will be available tonight, and obviously he spent a year at Rangers, so I'm sure he'll get a warm welcome back at Celtic Park. As for Brendan Rodgers, he said, it's a real challenging level, and for teams like ourselves, we have to be our absolute maximum to benefit, especially with how the game has developed in the financial side. But what I always believe in here as a club, that if we can get our squad to a really competitive level, what we can do here at home can really make it a special place to be, and can be really competitive at this level. There's been a lot of occasions where, and no fault of the players, because the players in all my times have gave me absolutely everything, but we just weren't at that level. That's the reality of it. I look at us now as a club progressing, looking forward. You see the club has supported us fantastically in the summer, and we want to be able to do that again in some other areas because we want to keep growing. End of quote. Right. Do you think that Celtic were backed? Would you say Celtic were supported fantastically in the summer? Would you throw that word out there? I personally wouldn't. I think in the end Celtic had a decent transfer window.
Yeah.
But for me,
there's no excuses, but I would describe it as fantastically backed.
For me, they waited too long on bringing players in, and I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they brought in an £11 million player in Engels. Uber Eats, nah, you're alright. I'm on a diet, big man. So, fuck off, Uber Eats, I don't want it.
Are you sure about that?
So, like, what's the point I was trying to make again?
You're on about how they left their signings too late.
Alright, they brought in, look, an £11 million signing in Engels, right, that's great. It's great to see Celtic spend that kind of money, but at the end of the day,
is it?
They're losing Matt O'Reilly, and they spent less than half the money they received for O'Reilly, so no matter what way you look at it, I do think it's a bit of a downgrade. In midfield, because the midfield, you can argue, yeah, they brought Bernardo back, and that's great, but at the end of the day, look, you can only play three players.
They've strengthened in depth, but I think overall...
Starting 11's got worse.
Yeah.
They spent, 9.5 on Adair, and, I mean, look, again, it's good for Celtic spending that kind of money, I'm sure the fans are loving it, but for me, you spend near 10 million on a striker, you should be getting someone better than Adair. I mean, I remember Celtic when they brought in Edouard for, 9 million? I mean, Edouard was a far better player than Adair.
And also, I think
Dembele was a far better player than
touched on it
Adair.
earlier. I think when you're spending near 10 million on a striker, I think it's in the Scottish. You should be looking to get someone better than Kyogo, and I think Kyogo's brilliant. I do. Right, he buries my team every time he plays. Sadly.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kyogo's levels above Adair. It's a weird signing for me, and I do believe that they were fleeced by Norwich. I mean, Norwich originally had him valued at 4 million.
I guarantee you, right? See if the guy wasn't Irish and didn't support Celtic, they would not have got him.
People disagree. Man, you could have got Miovski for less.
Oh, they should have got Miovski.
Much better player.
No, he is a much better player, but I think it's just the fact that a lot of fans like him because he's Irish and he supports Celtic.
Yeah,
I think he's all right there. He scored some crucial goals, but to me, I think Miovski would have been better, especially in Champions League nights. I mean, the guys went to Girona, and I can guarantee he'll have a great. See Bojan Miovski, he'll leave Girona for about 40 million, 50 million. I can't say the same for Adair. Obviously, it's different leagues.
Celtic will make a loss on Adair.
Yeah,
that is a fact.
Yeah,
and come back. See when they sell him, come back here, and you can say, you know what, son of Scotland, you were right.
You were right.
See all that times you bashed Adair and you said he was pish and he wasn't worth the money? You were right. Because that's what will happen. When Adair leaves Celtic, they'll get nowhere near breaking even.
No, I mean, Kyogo's getting older. I would say Adair's the Kyogo replacement. Is he good enough to replace him full time though? We'll have to wait and see.
So I'm sure from a Rangers perspective, you'd be happy with that going forward. See for the next like 3-4 seasons, if Adair was as good as it got up front for Celtic, would you not be like, right? Well, I'll take that.
I would take that. Of course, I would. But I mean, in terms of other news, I mean, there's not really an awful lot. Brendan Rodgers just talking about bigging Celtic up, and I mean, he's been backed. He's also backed himself into a corner because it's not like he said, "Yeah, we've been back, but we could have got one or two more in." He's turned around and said, "This is as good as it's going to get."
I just can't get on board with the fantastically backed in the summer, and I mean, Celtic fans weren't happy with the summer up until like the final week.
Look at Peter Law, man. He was getting confronted outside of Buddy Paisley.
And did Celtic do enough? Like, did they do good business in the last week, bringing in Trusty, Engels, McCowan, that left back? Yeah, I mean they did all right, and I think they had a decent summer. Not denying that, but I wouldn't say they were fantastically back. For me to be fantastically backed, I would have to see improvements in like multiple positions on the pitch, and I don't think they've made any improvements because Adair's came in and he's not replacing Kyogo. Yeah, Engels is coming in and he'll go into the starting team, but he's not better than O'Reilly. I'd say the one improvement that Celtic have made is Kasper Schmeichel.
But it's the one area of the pitch that it's like
In Scotland, you're not relying on really that much because
would Celtic have kept their 6 clean sheets or however many this season if it was
Joe Hartnett, I believe so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Kasper Schmeichel's had much. Now, here, could Kasper Schmeichel be a difference maker in the Champions League? I believe so. I think when you look at Celtic in the Champions League over the past 3 seasons, they were in the Champions League in Ange's first. No, they weren't. They're not.
No.
All right, the last 2 seasons, I do think that Hart was at fault. I remember watching quite a lot of Celtic, and you feel like Hart could have done better.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Madrid 6-0 was a bit shite.
There was a lot of times you're looking at it and go, I think Hart could have done more there. I think Hart could have. And when Celtic are in Europe, I think they need a goalkeeper. They ain't going to make mistakes. And for me, Kasper Schmeichel's that keeper. So, yeah, look, they've improved at the back, 100%. But that for me, that's the only area they've improved in. People wanted them to improve on Liam Scales. Time will tell whether Trusty's an improvement. People wanted them to improve on Greg Taylor. I don't think they've done that. I think they've brought in a backup left back just to have depth. That's what I think they've done there. Engels isn't an improvement on O'Reilly. Ida isn't an improvement on Kyogo. And they didn't really improve on the wings. I mean, people are like, alright, Kuhn's got better than he was last season, but a lot of people still want improvement on the wings. They're like, Palmer's not good enough. We can't be relying on James Forrest. And you feel like maybe Celtic could have spent another like 8 million, 9 million on a good winger. And that's not, maybe a right-sided winger. The Abada replacement, the Jota replacement.
Yeah.
Where is it? So, for me, they've not been fantastically backed, and I'm surprised that Brendan Rodgers is saying that, because he's piling pressure on himself, because now if Celtic don't win tonight, I mean, he can't come out and say, well, we're not at that level, because he's just previously come out and said, no, I've been fantastically backed, this is the best we've ever been.
I agree, but the problem is as well, say they didn't even make a signing, so they would still be expected to beat Slovan Bratislava.
No, they would be, but I mean, I just think it's weird for him to say fantastically.
It's
It is comments, but would you describe it as fantastically backed?
No, I think, I wouldn't say the bare minimum, but I would say they've been decently backed.
No, I agree with that, decently, but not fantastically.
I think they need it. I think you're right. I think they need a winger, potentially on each side.
Yeah.
But, I mean, are we going to give our score predictions first? Or at the end?
I'll give them at the end. Let's go through the cup. But do you not agree that positions-wise, other than Schmeichel, I don't see an upgrade?
No, I agree, yeah.
Now here, time will tell. Maybe Trust is an upgrade.
But it's not like Schmeichel's... I mean, he's better than Hart. I'm not denying that.
You've maybe got him for like 2 years.
Yeah, and it's just like... It'll help probably in the Champions League, but it's a weird one.
Right, Michael Kelly says, come on the Celts. Rydanertello says, last time Celtic won Bratislava, they got beat 5-1. Celtic should win, but they're so poor in Europe over the last decade. Who knows? Tell me, when did that happen, as it's something you've just made up. No, I'm pretty sure he didn't make up. I don't know if it was 5-1 though.
It was.
I'm pretty sure it was 4-5-0.
But I'm pretty sure Chris Sutton scored.
I thought it was 5.
Chris Sutton was talking about it last week. I remember reading the article. Didn't make a fid on it, but...
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up with another team, but I thought it was 5-0 and then Celtic won the return leg 4-0, but I could be...
yeah.
I'm pretty sure Gordon Strachan was the manager, but maybe I'm getting the teams...
Either way, they get beat by Slovan. No, I mean... Anyway.
Well, no, it was Amitia Bratislava. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, different or Bratislava?
That's why he's saying last time they're in Bratislava. You know, there's multiple teams from Bratislava.
And they're all diddy ones.
Well, a bit like Glasgow, isn't it? I mean, there's a good team and a bad team. Anyway,
And then
James
there's Partick
Doran,
Thistle.
Celtic to win by 2 goals. Hugh Trodden says, "Oh, hail, hail, the Celts are here." Hen says, "Hugh Edwards can play up front tonight, lads. He got community service. He's one of yours. Loves the Royals too." All right, fair enough. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Therapist
Hugh Edwards,
sells.
though, that was a joke.
Unreal, isn't it? I mean, what was he guilty of?
I don't even want to repeat it here.
Alright, fair enough. 2 words, Armedia, Bratislava. James Doran says, "You wish Celtic to win 2-0. Michael Kelly says that was away. Celtic will get destroyed. We are the people. Who is Sevco playing the night? Nobody. 100%, but that wee legend Weiss is the manager. It's actually Weiss's dad that's the manager, I believe.
No, he's actually called, his dad's called Vladimir Weiss as well. So he's Vladimir Weiss Jr., which is just weird. You don't really hear like an Eastern European being called Junior, do you?
No. It's the hope that kills every time. Sevco definitely won't get out of the group in the second tier competition. And who's Sevco playing tonight? I'll wait then qualify for it. Darren Stewart says, "Just remember, Timmy, you don't have the refs on your side tonight. You will get beat, and the 600 away fans will be partying at the other side of Glasgow." Craig Blandley says, "Still in their team. His dad is the manager." Therapist says, "He'll be tearing you a new one on the night." And that's pretty much it. James Doran's finishes. "Sorry to disappoint you. Celtic will come out victorious." Will they now? We'll see. John says, "I have a funny feeling about this game. We are praising Taylor and Scales, but they have played against nothing thus far this season. Kyogo Furuhashi has looked off the boil, and we have nothing in wide positions, except Kuhn.
Wow.
If we don't win this, we can't win any of the other 7. I mean, I see the point you're trying to make, but that's not how it works.
No, I know.
If Celtic have an off game tonight and don't win this, that doesn't mean that they can't win any of the other 7. But I mean, I get your point.
I said that earlier.
If they can't beat the weakest team, which I believe is probably Slovan Bratislava, if they can't beat them first, then it doesn't bear well for the other 7 games. But I mean, I don't think tonight, the result tonight isn't going to knock Celtic out of Europe, but it could definitely, it could put them on the back foot for sure.
I think it's unfair that on Taylor and Scales. I think Taylor's been better than Johnson this season, and I think Scales has been the best centre back.
Better than Carter Vickers?
This season. Obviously he's not better, but form.
Max says, "Why is this raging Hun putting up Celtic polls?"
You answer that, big man.
Mac, go fuck yourself. How about that? Why is this raging prick on our channel making dumb comments? Putting up a Celtic poll because it's a Scottish football channel. Celtic are a Scottish team and they're representing Scotland in Europe. Have you got a problem with that? I'm not a raging Hun either. I just don't like my team getting shafted at the weekend. But enough talking about that because, I think we've done enough. So
Celtic get shafted tonight, won't they? That's how it works.
Well, you anything to say to Mac?
Fuck him. I mean,
what a tool. Why is this? Because I can. How about that?
It's not our fault that Mac's no educated. This isn't a Rangers channel. This isn't a Hearts channel. This isn't a Celtic channel. Even though the comments, a lot of Celtic comments. But Scottish football channel.
I'll be supporting Celtic tonight. Got a problem, mate?
Mac.
He might not be, but I will.
Definitely won't be. I've gave up on the coefficient. So
no.
I'm raging. But no. Where was this energy when we're in the arse end of Norway, hyping up fucking Kelly and St Mirren?
Oh, why is this raging Hun putting up a St Mirren Paisley poll? Yeah, fuck people, man. Anyway, John Mason, the Masons. Celtic 2 or 3 goals. George Lennox says if they can build up coefficient, that will be a change. So far, they've contributed nothing. I don't know if they've contributed nothing, but they haven't contributed as much as Rangers, that's for sure. James Doran says that's rich coming from you. Sevco have the worst rate. Yes, look, we get it. Rangers Champions League. Oh, let's call them Sevco, Rangers. That season in Europe was horrible. No one's denying that. But are you going to pretend like Rangers haven't did well in Europe outside of that season? Because that's a lie.
Yeah.
So does all the coefficient points that Rangers have accumulated in the other seasons, do they somehow not matter because they had one disastrous Champions League campaign? Come on, let's keep it real here. People like to talk about honesty. Oh, I thought yous were fair just because I don't agree with one decision. But by the way, Ref Watch it. They said that was harsh. None of them agreed that Celtic should have been the only team not to concede a penalty. So, but I'm not going to talk about that anymore.
How weird is it though that the non-biased English pundits all say that, but every Scottish pundit turned around and said no, it was a penalty.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, isn't it? That every Scottish pundit's saying that no, it's a penalty, but on Ref Watch, the 4 pundits, including Dermot Gallagher, he was like, nah, it was harsh, and he basically says, well, look, we've kind of backed ourselves into a corner by giving not giving the Hearts a penalty and giving Celtic one. So yeah, go watch Ref Watch, and they'll pretty much say the same thing that we were saying, and the same thing that Stephen Naismith was saying. But here, we're apparently not the ones that are fair or whatever. Just because, we have a different of agreements over one fucking, incident. John Mason says Celtic will win comfortably by 2. I mean, I hope they do, but I'm not convinced.
John Mason with the same comment he put in about 2 seconds ago.
Macaulay says 2-1 Celtic, and I think that's it. Max says 3-0. Michelle, can he speak today? Michelle Shaw. Sean Connery says 3-0 to the Celtic. Right, what are we saying? I'm going to go Celtic 2, Slovan Bratislava 1. I think we might see Slovan score the opening goal, and I think it might rock Celtic a little bit because it's the first goal they've conceded. But I expect them to come back and get over the line and get the win.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0. I think it'll be easy.
Oh my god, right, you're going 1 goal difference, man.
Yeah, but I just don't think...
So you're going clean sheet and a Celtic 2-0 win?
It's very rare that we see Scottish teams actually pump a team in Europe despite levels.
Alright, well, I'm going 2-1, you're going 2-0. Now, let's speak about what results do I want. I want a nice 5-0 Celtic win tonight, clean sheet, dominant, good performance, good result. A result that can go down in Scottish history and to make a statement and to put Scottish football on the map. What result do you want tonight?
I want 5-0 Slovan Bratislava. I want Vladimir Rees to fucking 2-foot the Celtic corner flag into Rosed.
And there you go, guys. You've heard it there.
Yeah, because you know what, right? As you touched upon earlier with the Rangers coefficient, Rangers doing well in Europe has created this gulf between Rangers and Celtic because it's guaranteed Celtic Champions League football. So you know what?
If Rangers were shite in Europe, Celtic wouldn't have had the last 2 years in the Champions League.
That's exactly my point. So you know what? See the coefficient. As much as I like seeing Scottish teams like St Mirren and Kelly and Hearts, etc.
get pumped.
Well, no, getting in though, and it's good seeing Hearts getting guaranteed group stage football at the end of the day. But
getting pumped 6 games.
The reality is, you'd be fucking. I think as a Rangers fan, I know people say, I'm not asking Rangers fans to back Celtic, but you have to look at it and realise that, you know what, Rangers carrying the coefficient, which they've done, is actually inadvertently created the gap. So see all those good nights of Europa League run and all that shit. Honestly, I think it's had a massive part to play in why Celtic are so far ahead.
But you're not thinking that at the time.
No, you're not thinking that at the time.
When Rangers got to the final in Seville, are you sitting there thinking, oh, hold on here. We're guaranteeing Celtic Champions League football. I mean, come on.
No, because if we won, we'd have got we got the Champions League football. But you know what? Celtic know how to manage their money. Rangers, they got the Champions League money, Europa League money. Didn't do much with it. But here, I think Celtic will win though.
Right, you're going 2-0. I'm going 2-1, guys. That's it. We're catching the review tonight. Might do player ratings as well. Who knows? Might do a wee starting 11 announcement too. Looking forward to it. Champions League's back. You won't hear me say this often. But come on the Celtic.
Come on the Slovan Bratislava.